Hey Leo, now you can see where we went on that ride yesterday. It's just like, it's really time for you to ask yourself why it can be so hard for you to jump in before the plan. Why it's so hard for you to maybe have faith in something higher or something more. That this isn't all that's here, and if it was, then what would be the point? You're questioning your own evolution, what you believe in, what and how some of this has caused you to retract and become more internal than normal. I mean, it's wintertime, it's a good time to explore that anyway. But it's like, it's something that you're not really at peace with, though. Like, you kind of, there's some pushback. You may be doing things you know that aren't really good for you. So life is kind of it keeps bringing you back to this one thing before, and like eventually you'll be like, okay, I'll take a look at it. But I guess you have to ask yourself, like, what's worth actually fighting for? You know, what has had a hold on you or your mind or a certain part of your programming? What happens this month is you can fight that, or you can wait it out. Either way, it's going to bring you back to this notion of taking a look at what you've come to really want or value after all of this, or as all of this is going on. Taking a look of what you've created, and that might cause you to let go. It's not looking the other way. It's not that you're not facing a problem, Leo. It's not it, you know? It's more about seeing what's real, what's not, and how that maybe connects to that question about deepening your faith or your belief in something. How this questioning is about what you don't have instead of what you do have, right? We can get caught up in that, but what you do have is really important. And as you go through this, because there's no way of avoiding it, you realize that this perspective isn't working. That what's coming out of it all, and it could be a Libra or something you noticed in Libra or Scorpio season of last year, is that it brought you many different, like, little blessings, little wins, small wins, as they would say. But everyone's small and big win might be different. And you're able to see that when you, certain things, when you cut them off, just cut it off, there's a reaction from it, a response from your own self, you know. This could be having to do with your body as well for some of you. Something going on with your body that you're now very clear about, but when you cut out certain things, it can cause a reaction. So it's like maybe even if you're cleansing this month, this is it. Because you realize what was tied to that Ace of Cups, that fulfillment, actually isn't what you really think fulfillment is. It's just this reaction to the way you've been brought up, the way you've been raised, certain things that have been implemented, and there's certain things that haven't been making sense to you in your life, and you're like, well, if I don't think this, and then why that? But subconsciously, that's what's stronger. And when you can give yourself a moment to look at something that is flawed or not optimally working, you see how that can get you into this place where you're not working or acting from your instinctual nature, your heart. You're not, there's something that or even a feeling of wanting to give up sometimes. But that's only strengthening what's to come, because what you're now getting you're getting a different view where you're now becoming very aware of is that you have so much more. Now you're like I said in the first part, you're gaining so much more power. You're pulling it back. And that's why some of these things can hurt too, because you've realized like, oh, I've been a part of this whole time. I've been a part of hurting myself. But I didn't know. You didn't know. And you still have so much to be grateful for. You have so much that is ready and ripe. But you've put your focus too much in a place where it's just not, it doesn't add up. And what last October, November showed you was that there's a spiritual practice that you need to have, and it doesn't have to be the same thing every day, but sometimes it's easier when you're more disciplined to one thing. And it will cut off a lot of the bullshit. Because soon after that, like by your full moon, you realize like, okay, all of these things are very real, and maybe these different aspects and placements, or maybe this time in my life is taking me through it, but it's always changing. Like your buddy Cancer that's right before you. It's ever changing. And the sun, you might not be getting enough of it, depending on where you live. This very Taurus nature of being so okay with and grounded even when things are chaos, or so much is going on, or there's so much to be decided about, so much to do, so much to, direct. And being direct, right? Fire signs can be direct, but usually it's for their benefit, or it's when they don't give a fuck about something. And they're unattached. Earth signs are direct about most things. And they don't feel like they have to change their tone, right? So there's this idea that the Fool can't also be secure or have security. Because what the cards are saying to you is that if you want this, you have to do this. And if you want this, you have to do this, right? Okay, the Emperor coming out. Jupiter is in Aries right now. if there's a Aries in your life, it seems like they've done this before, or a Taurus. So those are the people that you can maybe lean on. This is really about you and your journey. See how interesting this is? How physical, very close, and then far away. This, the Fool, taking the leap, the risk, whether it's emotional, mental, it's not hard for you. But this just happens to mean a lot to you. But what if it could mean a lot to you? You could be committed to it, but you also can't be attached to it. Because yes, they're sharing cups. Yes, look, the lion showing up. Yes, there is something, a union being brought together. And it's very obvious and physical, but this union is different. It's lighter, yet it's so dense with faith, understanding, self-direction, being of service, giving, being generous of heart. Cutting things in, but yet knowing when to cut things off. There's a power that you've always held, but there's something amplifying. There's something becoming more solid. There's a part of your life that's going from very flighty, free-falling, whatever, to very structured. And there's a part of your life that's going from structured to having to trust, believe, use those intangibles. So the tangible is becoming more intangible, and an intangible is becoming more tangible. So your life's just changing in a way that you're not used to what control mechanisms are there now, but you have all that you need right here. If you pay attention in Aquarius season, it will give you so much of what you need for your life. A far out view and an inward view. But you have agency over all of that as well. Okay, Leo? See you next month.